When it comes to the stories of missing people, a lot of people find details about different cases online. These cases certainly do tug at our heartstrings. It's something that so many of us are invested in, and we definitely like to share. And I'm so glad that people like to do that. But along with places like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, there is misleading information and stuff that's popping up right now is something that police departments and sheriff's offices across the country are taking notice, including over in Garden City. And that's why I have Aaron here with Garden City Police to talk more about what you're seeing. So a bit of scams. So people taking on people who want to go and do some good. What is it that you're seeing over there?
Right. So, from both the police department aspect as well as like just a citizen aspect too, we're seeing a lot more of these scams involving missing people, criminals on the loose, or lost children, lost elderly, pets, even. And they're showing up in your Facebook buy or trade groups, your online marketplaces, and people just they're falling for it, and they just keep sharing the information. So there's, with that comes misinformation, or even compromising personal information when they find out a lot of these are attached to some kind of scam, or just wanting to share misinformation. So that's kind of what we're seeing. Some local stuff, we had to push out some information on some rental scams about a week ago. And we haven't had any, missing persons as of late, but in the past we have had those posts coming up. Hey, we found a lost child or a lost newborn. Just things that we see that we automatically identify that's a scam. But unfortunately, many of those who may not be aware or not very active on social media, they may fall for it. And so we're just wanting to put out more information and just talk about, what to be on the lookout for.
Yeah.
Most of the time, if it's too good to be true, or it just doesn't seem right, it's probably a scam.
Are there any red flags that people should be on the eye out in addition to, that gut feeling, like a checklist of, this is something that I should see with a post like this,
Mhm.
or I should at least be aware of before sharing it?
So I actually pulled up something, and then things that I've seen myself too. Um, First off, what is it reporting if it's a missing child or a lost pet, or we've got pets for sale? I've seen that one too. A found elderly person or a criminal on the loose. Where is it originating from?
Mm.
Um, is it just like if somebody make up a post? Are they sharing it from a legitimate page or a reputable page? But most of the time, we're finding that it's coming from just a random events page, a
Mm.
marketplace, just an unknown profiles. I've sometimes looked to see who's posting that, and if you pull up their profile, they don't have any followers or even a profile picture. It's like basically a blank canvas.
Mm.
Um, what kind of contact information? Is there missing contact information? Are the comments turned off? That's a big one too. You can pull up, and a lot of times you'll see that the comments are turned off, and more than likely there's a reason for that, and that's like a red flag for being a scam. We've noticed too on some of the posts, like, is there a hashtag of a city and or state? If you see some of the language, I find it like if it's very generic,
Mhm.
just kind of like it's like a blanket, like blanket information. If it says to please bump the post, oh, we need, more shares or whatnot, flood the feeds. I guess you could say
Mm.
too. There's another one. Something that I have also noticed with these posts, if you look closely at the pictures that are shown, a lot of times it's like duplicate or just kind of the same pictures, but they're also, I've seen watermarked. So a lot
Oh,
of times
okay.
I've seen some watermarked pictures, or um, you can just kind of tell that they're pulled from the internet.
Yeah. It's kind of
Makes
like I
sense.
feel like we're in a world where, and I've had this happen once recently with a post where I put something up, and I've always had a certain language with the post that I've shared, but it did get
Mhm.
flagged by Facebook. And I'm like, well, even though that was frustrating, people were still able to share it, but some people were like, well, why is it doing it? I'm like, it's probably because of this trend that we're seeing online, that they're just trying to be very careful about making sure that people, because just so everyone's aware, like, I think it's great to keep in mind, like, yeah, if the comments are taken off of it, or you're not able to comment, it's probably something suspicious. If you, that gut feeling, of course, too. But when I've seen some stuff on there, I, it's just wild to think about, like, people wanting to do such good. And I love our communities for it. Everybody wants to share and help with these cases, but there are unfortunately some people that are willing to go and take advantage of them. But what they can do, one instance is, like, for example, you can go and take a post and you can remove an image and then put a new image on there or new information on there, and people may not realize it. So if something's shared, it's already viral. Let's say people are
Right.
thinking we're sharing this missing persons thing, and then the person who created the post then substitutes, like, they take that information out and put something misleading in, or put links to a page or something that could take advantage of their credit information, or just whatever they're trying to do. That's kind of the tactic, at least of one example of what it could end up doing. So it's just
That's what we
something that I want people to think about. It. It's so hard and frustrating. And that, and like, artificial intelligence is such a thing
Mhm.
where I'm a little nervous about it. I've been going through some training, and I'm sure even on the police end, you all are thinking about things too, or
Right.
experiencing things that we haven't thought of, but things that can be made by people that can mislead. I mean, we're in a new era, Erin.
Yeah, so personally, I don't like to use AI unless it's like behind the scenes, like, hey, for a speech for chief or something. Like on my
Yeah.
post, I would rather take the time to put something together or use something that I've used before, because a lot of places now I've seen where if they use AI to help with like a Facebook post, people catch on and calling them out. And even if it's just something, very like a community oriented policing post,
Yeah.
there's been examples where they use AI to kind of create that post. And that's just something that it's not worth the risk.
Yeah.
AI is good for some things, but I don't want it to be where it's taking over everything.
Yeah, tech is bringing us to a new era, but it's also doing good. Like, when you all were police, we have a warrant or a suspect we're looking for, or we're looking for a missing child. The community does rally behind these things.
Right. I think it's so important too when we're talking, Annette, about, making sure when you're trying to verify, hey, if this is for real or something, looking at who is making that post, people will reach out to us. I love our community when they see something like, hey, I just want you guys to see like this is floating around, or hey, is this true? We have people that do reach out and to verify that information. So that's really good that we have a vigilant community. And I think that's probably where you're experiencing too, where you see
Yeah.
people are on the lookout and just not very quick to believe everything you see.
Which is good. Absolutely. And it's nice that, a handful of years ago, the state started its missing persons clearinghouse for Kansas. So people can go and check out names and information online. Sometimes that information might be off a bit. Maybe a name is misspelled, or, there
Right.
might be a little bit of things that just aren't exactly perfect, but it's a pretty good resource, I feel like, for me. And I'm hoping people will take advantage of for themselves if they, are just curious, like, is this right? And I'm so glad that we could at least have this conversation to kind of guide people in the right direction, because I think we all have a good heart, we all want to do the good thing, the right thing, but I
I
don't want anyone falling for stuff.
not only falling for stuff, but getting to a point where they, what's the term, where they see something like, yeah, they blow it off. They kind of become immune to actual legitimate missing people or some kind of crisis or incident. I don't think we'll get to, hopefully, we don't get to that, but I don't think you'll have everybody. But at the same time, just making sure, you're verifying that the information you see is true and doing your research, I think is important.
Absolutely. Well, I hope that we are guiding people in the right direction. I appreciate your time so much, Erin. Do you think there's anything else that people should know? Certainly, I'm going to put up here with this post just a bit more links and stuff if people want to dive into looking
That's
at the
so
state
cool.
clearinghouse and everything. But of course, if you ever see anything online and you think it's suspicious, report it to your respective, your social media platform. But if it's something where you are a victim of a scam, make sure you go and report that to local law enforcement, contacting your DA's office, even the state attorney general's office if you've lost money. Those are good things to add to your checklist. But I'll add it to the information here that people are seeing. But such a pleasure, Erin, to be able to speak with
Also a
you. And
pleasure with you, Annette.
yeah,
Well, thank you. Have a good day.
you too. Bye.
Bye.